I call the member for Port Adelaide.
Well, Deputy Speaker, you cannot imagine how pleased I am to take this debate. Because, Deputy Speaker, they have got to be kidding. They have got to be kidding. The last time we had overreach like this was when John Howard said under work choices workers had never had it better. Remember that? Billboard after billboard after billboard destroyed your government because of that arrogance, that sense of being so out of touch that you do not understand, the government does not understand what is happening in households across the country. This motion exemplifies how arrogant, how out of touch this government is. Now, this minister, Deputy Speaker, this minister came into the parliament yesterday afternoon and said this effectively to the 2.5 million Sydney households: "You've never had it so good. You've never had it so good." He came into this house and said to 2.5 million Sydney households that under the coalition government, power prices have decreased by as much as $473. This minister said $473 is the cash that Sydney households have in their pocket because of the cuts in their power bills under this government. Sydney households should be grateful for the bountiful sums that have flowed their way from reduced power bills under this minister and his predecessor. With a straight face, he said this. With a straight face. Now, I do admit that the minister did concede that some Sydney households had experienced an increase in their power bills, an increase of $1. $1, he said. He said $1, not $1 per week. $1 per year over the whole of those long 4 years of this shocking government. Now, the member for Lindsay gave me a good suggestion earlier today. She said, rather than having this debate in the rarefied atmosphere of Canberra, why don't you join me in Penrith? Why don't you join me in Penrith and have this debate and hear from Sydney households how grateful they are for the extra $473 that you say they have in reduced power bills. They'll be throwing rose petals your way, in your path as you steam into Penrith to tell them, gratefully tell them, how they've got reduced power bills under there. Well, Mr Deputy Speaker, I tell you this, the member for Lindsay, other representatives of Sydney households on this side of Parliament, they know what's happening in the real world. They know what's happening in the real world with Sydney power bills. Under this government, they are going up and up and up. Last year alone, they went up, according to the Sydney Morning Herald, on average, by $200 a year. As the minister belatedly admits, Sydney households are experiencing power bill increases this year of around 20%. 20%. News.com.au says that on average for a Sydney household, that is about $600 a year. We didn't even refer to that yesterday. This is a government that is so out of touch that it thinks that Sydney households are experiencing a bounty of reduced power bills that is nothing but a fantasy. Nothing but a fantasy. And perhaps that's why this Minister for Energy is supporting his treasurer in cutting the energy supplement to 400,000 aged pensioners, to 108,000 disability support pensioners, to 105,000 carers, to single parents, to other families on income support, because apparently their power bills are going down. They don't need the $550 energy supplement to the most vulnerable households in our community. And, Mr Deputy Speaker, it's not just households, because business after business has been walking the halls of this parliament over the last fortnight talking about their energy price rises across the country, including in New South Wales. And we know the figures they're quoting. They're talking to the media, they're talking to members on this side, 70%, 80%, 90%, even 100% increases in their power contracts in New South Wales, all because of this government's stunning underperformance on energy policy. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, the reasons for this are very clear. Under this government, 4,000 megawatts of dispatchable power has been taken out of the system. 7 coal-fired power stations, equivalent to powering 6 million households, taken out of the system. And I'd love the minister to get up and tell us how many megawatts of dispatchable power have been built in the more than 4 years of this government, because it's zero. It's absolutely zero. We heard the Prime Minister boast about the 2,900 megawatts of gas-fired generation installed in the last decade. He didn't say it was all under the last Labor government, and not a single megawatt of dispatchable power has been built in the long 4 years of this government. But we also know it's not just the Turnbull government that's let Sydney households down, because we saw the ACCC in the paper again this morning complaining about the Liberal state government's botched privatisation of New South Wales power generation, pushing power prices up for Sydney households already having to suffer at the hands of this incompetent, out-of-touch government. This government has plunged this country into the deepest energy crisis in living memory. The deepest energy crisis in living memory. Power prices, to the minister I say, power prices are not going down. They are not going down. They are going up and up and up under this government. 2/3 of the nation, for the first time in living memory, 2/3 of the nation is at risk of blackouts in coming summers because this government has built no dispatchable power generation, while 4,000 megawatts of dispatchable power has left the system under this government's watch. It's not just dispatchable power, it's not just power prices. Pollution is going up. 1 in 3 renewable energy jobs have been lost under this minister, under this government, because of their attacks on renewable energy. 1 in 3 jobs. Thousands of workers in the renewable energy have lost their jobs because of this government's ideological attacks. And it's all the more unforgivable, Mr Deputy Speaker, because they actually have a blueprint to get the nation out of this deep hole. They have a blueprint to get the nation out of this hole, and it's called the Finkel Report, a report commissioned by the government itself from the chief scientist of Australia that recommends the clearest possible way forward. The clearest possible way forward, a clean energy target, one that's got support in business, support of state governments. The opposition has said we'll constructively engage with them. But why isn't the clean energy target progressing? I wonder why the clean energy target progressing. Because 2 years ago we changed the Prime Minister, but we didn't actually change who runs this show. Because the member for Warringah runs this show. The member for Hughes had a pretty significant influence as well, but second to the member for Warringah, who really runs this show. Who really runs this show. We've got article after article after article laying bare for the nation all of the internal divisions of this sad and sorry government.
I'll ask the minister to resume his seat. I'll just remind all members, particularly the member for Hunter, who has interjected the whole way through. If you want to come to the dispatch box, the member for Hunter, you'll get your turn. I call the minister and remind all members that if you're out of your seat, reduce your interjections.
We've got yesterday Turnbull retreats on clean energy. He said this was the way forward, but no, he can't get his party room to do it. We saw yesterday Abbott Fuel's push from backbench against Clean Target, proving again that you may have changed the Prime Minister 2 years ago. You didn't change who runs the show. You didn't change who's got a veto over policy, including climate and energy policy. It's still the member for Warringah who runs this show. Party games yesterday.
His seat, the member for Corangamite.
Thank you very much, Mr Deputy Speaker. On a point of order, I would ask the member to direct his comments through the chair. Thank you.
Minister, order. I'm sure the minister is aware of that.
Thank you,
the Shadow
Deputy
Minister
Speaker.
is aware of that.
I'll take that, Deputy Speaker. Mr Deputy Speaker, there are no limits to this government's arrogance. There are no limits to how out of touch this government and all on its backbench are, because the Australian people know what's happening with power prices. They know that under this government they're going up and up. They know their wages are flat. They know that the Prime Minister is cutting the energy supplement. They know they're giving tax cuts to millionaires and tax cuts to big business. They know that they're making their kids pay more to university. And I tell you what, they'll find this government out. Mr Deputy Speaker, I move as an amendment to the proposition that all words after condemns be omitted with a view to substituting the following. The Prime Minister for being so out of touch that his government is telling the average Sydney household that since this government was elected in 2013, their power bills have only gone up by $1 or gone down by $450 a year.
Is there a second? I call the member for Watson.
You can continue to move the amendment, Joshie.